Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
You know, when one is asked to talk about leadership in Africa, one's mind wanders in many directions, because in the recent past, the continent of Africa has been the subject of scrutiny from many quarters. There are those who are Afro-pessimists and take the view that Africa will show. There are those Afro-optimists who take the view that the jury is still out on the success or otherwise of the continent of Africa. I am an Afro-optimist. I take the view that this continent has had a glorious past, and that this continent has had her trials and tribulations, but her better days are in the future. There are those who, when talking about Africa, are in the habit of dealing with Africa as if it were one monolithic block. They do not recognize that the beauty of Africa is in her diversity. And indeed, when you care to undertake a geographical survey of Africa, you will be amazed at what the West of Africa offers, what the center of Africa offers, what the South of Africa offers, what the Horn of Africa offers, and what the North of Africa offers. That is the continent that we are talking about today. And we are talking about her because she continues in many ways to punch below her weight. And many are the commentators who take the view that the reason why she continues to punch below her weight is because the men and women who have had the privilege and honor to serve her in different political capacities or leadership capacities have not served her well. There may be merit in that assessment, but those who are quick to judge, those whose only claim to fame is that they are professional fault finders, must ask many questions before they judge and condemn Africa unfairly. This continent, and I remember, and if we are to judge this continent fairly, we must go back to the past and look to the past and ask about this continent. And there are many who have written about this continent. How many of you here will forget the great writings of Senegal's Anta Cheikh Diop, who has documented in many ways the glorious past of the continent of Africa, the great kingdoms in Africa. When Europe was still in the caves, Africans were building monuments. If they were not building them in the Ashanti Empire, they were building them in Monomotapa here in Zimbabwe. And there is a sense in which all those have been consigned to the Museum of History. And those who look at Africa see Africa as a scar on the conscience of humanity, not remembering that they were themselves co-authors of Africa's misfortunes. We are the only continent and the only people in the world who have been commodified How many of you will remember that agrarian Europe had to commodify Africa in order to realize our level of development? At one time in those early days, we will remember, even as we talk about leadership, that half of the population of this continent was taken away. If they were not taken away from Ghana, which they then christened Gold Coast, they were taken away from Angola. If they were not taken away from Angola, they were taken away from Mozambique. If they were not taken from Mozambique, they were taken from Senegal. If the Arabs were not taking us, the Europeans were taking us. If the Europeans in their different tribes were not conquering us, they were stealing from us. Those are the realities that we don't talk about when we talk about this continent. And you know, if one cares to judge the African continent, one must be historically conscious. The oldest African country after we regained our independence from Greater Chief. And the question that we must ask ourselves, why is it that this continent finds ourselves in that space? If it is not Europe summoning us, it is the United States of America summoning us. Everybody is in the business of summoning us.
Good morning, viewers. Good morning, wherever you are in the world. Good morning in Germany, in our headquarters through the satellite system in Democratic Republic of Germany. Or do we call it in the Federal Republic of Germany, because it's now combined. Good morning in Berlin. Good morning wherever you are in Mombasa, Kenya. We are going to take our satellite straight to Mombasa, Kenya, to pick up images of President Uhuru Kenyatta and his counterpart of Uganda, President Yoweri Kaguta, General Museveni, right at the coast, as they inspect the coast. This is what we do. This is digital platform in Africa, right from Nairobi. The weather is very nice, together with my German partner in media.
In Pan-Africanism.
In Pan-Africanism, exactly.
Yes.
My partner in Pan-Africanism.
Yes.
I'm very happy that both presidents, Kenyatta and President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, President Yoweri Kaguta, General Museveni, all of them believe in Pan-Africa. The spirit I have, we might differ on a number of things, but the whole spirit of deliver and the heart is the same. We look at Africa as the same. You touch Africa, then you bring ICC, I attack you. Even if you don't like me, I attack you, I help. If you touch Africa, I am there to stand by Africa. That is the spirit. That is one of the things that helps me to be a bit loosely connected with His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Otherwise, in terms of methodology of how to deliver this Africa, we again agree, but we have ways of approach. And in the second part of this show, tomorrow, the President gives his reasons. I am giving my reasons today. Yes, all of our scholars and the scholars of the same subject called political science and I added international relations. His Excellency the President did political science in the University of Dar es Salaam. Thank you very much. It was one of the best subjects at that time when some of us were very young, living in some of the boys' quarters and running errands with newspapers, working for a shilling in Tanzania, Arusha, Moshi, at the border of Namanga. Some of us have gone through all that exercise. All these Panya roads that the President talks about, he's not the only one who went in those Panya roads. Whoa. There are many people. Yes, I've been on this earth for 6 decades. Therefore, you can't expect me to not have played the part. I would have been a dummy. Wagwan. That's the life we have. Thank you very much, Mr. President. All the presidents, the two. You see, one of the things that you'll find Matanga very pragmatic is, even when he is cheated, he laughs. Isn't it? When he has a problem, I laugh. And that's what God has given me. And that's why I'm still here. Those who wanted to pursue different routes are not here. Whoa. Mine is a route of constructive engagement, positive neutrality, constructive engagement. I am not going to negatively engage. I will constructively engage until I find a better home, a better Uganda one day. The one day only. I don't want to sing that song. One day. That's it. Engage. Those who are going to listen to my lecture in the next stop of the hour on Africa, why are there obstacles to integration? I look at case studies like 6 of them. Just to give you a sample, I'm using the Swahili and mix it with English. It's high time we mixed English with Swahili to form another language. This other language is obsolete. Swahili is obsolete. It was brought by the Arabs. It's gone. We better bring ours.
That would be shame.
We are now, yes, we are now bringing in children studying Chinese, Mandarin. Oh my God, this is it. So it is part of dynamism. States are dynamic. They are not the same. Those days in Idi Amin's days when we carried coffee, we had Chebukube Soko ya Magendo through Kitale. Kenya flourished through the illicit trade of coffee carried through my place, all of it with other items. Times have changed. When President Uhuru Kenyatta talks about changes, leaving a united Kenya, a handshake change, nobody should underrate that. It's a handshake change. The only way to guarantee Kenya safety, to guarantee our goods to reach Kampala, whatever railway you build, you must have a united Kenya. You can build 2 million railways, but once Kenya is not united, we have nothing to say. You will not have offered any solution to this great Africa. Kenya must, not today, not tomorrow, now, start that route of engagement. My German friend will agree, Miriam Ogut.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you very much, madam.
Good morning.
In Uganda, we greet while going down.
Ah, okay.
Oh, yes. If we had been in another studio, not seated like this, I would have greeted you in a proper Ugandan way. I believe people at the coast yesterday must have seen the type of behavior that the few of the Ugandans that His Excellency the President Museveni arrived with must have had. The type of mannerism, the type of behavior, the good gesture of ladies massaging your legs when you come from duty. Yes, your wife has to welcome you. These days, Africa has changed. It has changed in the sense that you cannot. Today, the lady, your wife opens the door, said, David Matanga, sit there. The food is there and this is there. I've gone back. I'm watching my program. That's the life we have. That's the life we have in Kenya, in Uganda. But Uganda has discipline of ladies. Ladies in Uganda still follow the cultural institutions that President Museveni allowed to survive, to teach cultural activities. Cultural activities that can enhance our culture. Culture activities that don't bring us the chaos in courts, where courts tell us to reduce instead of addressing the problem. The courts, the judges, grown-up men and women who studied law in cheap universities in America, they come here to tell us that to reduce the age from 18 to 16 instead of saying, let's change the law on how to imprison these predators. Am I wrong?
You're very right.
Look at that. Some of these judges that in Kenya, that people selected, these are activists.
As if you don't have enough pedophiles already.
These are activists. Mr. President, this judiciary is full. I'm already in the topic, Miriam, don't worry. This judiciary is full of activists. These are men who studied law in cheap universities in America, sponsored by George Soros. They have turned around and they are making silly rulings. We already have too much problem with even the age of 18. And you want to reduce, instead of looking for methods on how to stop deterrence. The 15 year is a deterrent that you should not go and touch somebody under the age. Wagwan. 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 Where are we heading? And this is a court. The people of Kenya have on their minds. This is a court. Look at this court. This is a court of judges who picked degrees from America. United Kingdom, you can't pick a degree on the streets. But in the US, you can pick it down, ghetto man, hello, ghetto man. Yes, because in the UK, you must have your student number. One thing that shows you studied in the United Kingdom university is your PIN number called the student number. If anybody comes with a degree from the United Kingdom university, ask him for the student number. Data is there. This is where Africa should be looking at. And I believe Professor Magoha will bring us the good news by introducing the things that we missed. By bringing the things that we people who did the East African Certificate of Education in conjunction with Oxford and Canterbury and Cambridge, like ourselves, my O-level certificate, however poor it might have been, still has East African Certificate of Education. Yes. Yes. They said, not Ogundipe certificate, not Uganda certificate of education. No, no, that is how I am. If you want to find out who were the last people who did the East African certificate of education, you find the student number Matanga. The last singer, we had the last people before the madman called Idi Amin came to dissolve, to remove the East African community, kill it completely. And after that, all the people, you can now calculate my age backwards. So for those who wear suits today and the new shirts and they run around threatening people, because we are simply helping President Uhuru Kenyatta to fight corruption in Kenya, God bless you. You can know that we did J.A. Bright, not Ogundipe. If it was a Bible that we read, the original text of the Bible, and some of us can preach very well. If you ask me where Jesus is now, yes, this is a period of Lent. A period of Lent. Where is Jesus now? Where is he today, a day like this? Where was Jesus 2,000 years ago? What activity was he doing today? This week, what activity? Some people don't even know, and they claim to be very good Christians, going to churches every day. Oh, I'm going to church. You don't know. You should know this, the chronological events, the events that led Jesus Christ, after feeding the people 5,000 or more, people at the port of Capernaum, at the Sea of Galilee, kumwalo gwa Capernaum, where 12 breads were turned into several fishes were turned huge. But when Jesus was feeding people at the port of Capernaum, not all the people ate the first bread. Several were left out, Miriam. There were those coming on the canoes across Galilee, the Sea of Galilee. Those who found Jesus had already moved. He had been called ahead to say there is a problem ahead. Master, come and help one of the Roman officers. Someone was not well.
One of the servants was not well.
Oh, what? Oh, what? This is the type of religion. As you come to this television station, we are a catalog, a cocktail of all round up religion, politics, economics, cookery, which is also, yes, we cook.
And family matters.
And the family matters. And then above all, we hate beer. We want to tell the truth. We hate presidents like beer. Mr. Beer, my American friends are coming for you. Very soon, we are going to put a no-fly zone. A no-fly zone. I asked for the no-fly zone. I think Trump heard me. No-fly zone over Bazonia. Soon coming. Attend the first conference in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. I can see so many people. Last night, I watched Dr. Saku, Dr. Kwanga, and the others. I just want to sound a warning, a serious warning to you leaders of Amazonian, that stop the bickering. Stop the bickering. Your people need salvation now. Not posts, not arranging yourself to be a president when you have not liberated the people. Stop the bickering. I listened to entire speech, everything of yours. I've recorded it and I'm coming to Germany, Berlin. I will tell you how you can finally execute the home battle last lap without bickering. Ask me, I've been there. I've seen. I conquered and I retreated. Uganda is safe today. My country is safe today because of the willingness of the people, the President of the Republic of Uganda, who accepted that let Uganda be safe today. Let's go back and talk as to why we fight on a very day basis. Every government fights the other, removes the other. There's one thing that you can accuse President Museveni of democratic deficit, but you can't accuse him of a security deficit. I want to thank him. I give a credit where it's due. Not that I support, I am his party member. No, 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 no. My party is Uganda People's Congress. Obote has talked to me when he left so many times. I was the only man who saw him last in Kablonga, in Zambia, number 47 house, Kablonga. Many people did not. Yes. Therefore, I still talk to him. Don't you see the English? Don't you see the mastery? The oratory? It is him he gave me. He didn't give to his sons, because none of his sons can talk like me. There's only one bishop, Eddie, tries to talk in church, but not in politics. I saw him, the old man. I stand, but I give credit where the President of the Republic of Uganda has done. I say yes, yes, yes. Security, take. Other matters, let's wait. Let's see. There is nowhere in the Plateau Republic, Socrates, that tells you this is the way democracy should move. The Plateau Republic just gave us a Plateau Republic on how democracy should be. But the irony of it is at the end of the chapters of Plateau Republic, shoe cobblers in the city of Athens were told to pay taxes. Yes. Previously they were not. Have you read the Plateau Republic if you did political science at all? Look at that. At the end of it, people were told you have to pay taxes. Yes, yes, you pay taxes. That is where the democracy is. And the democracy governments come in to regulate how you pay, how you talk, how you associate, how you assemble. There is no government in the world, including America, that allows you to assemble, to talk, to associate the way you like up to the time of even going to pray from the White House. Can you pray on the White House every day? Just walk and walk into the White House and say I'm prayers, because it's association. It's the freedom to assemble. Can you go to 10 Downing Street and open the door and say I have the freedom to assemble? I want to lead my congregation from this door. The police will take you down. Can you go and start in the middle near the Queen's Palace in London and say I am here to preach? The police will ask for the permit. Can you go and tell the London Railway to fly the train instead of riding the train? You can't. Democracy has benchmarks where you reach. That's why each country, each place takes step by step to regulate that democracy. Mm-hmm. Even now you see the thing of the social media that was brought free of charge. Even in Britain, they are beginning to caution it, isn't it? They are beginning to say, no, this thing is bringing problems to the community. In Britain itself, where democracy has been there for 1,600 years, Kenya, Uganda is only 54, 55, and 56, and 57, isn't it? Mm-hmm. We have not even reached the mark of 60, my age, over.
Almost there.
Almost there.
But not there yet.
But not there yet, madam.
Yes, indeed.
So democracy is the essence. Anybody who has studied the subject of political science will tell you, because some of us talk for hours and we are paid. Yes, in London, I can go to any university, call me, I'll talk and get paid. By the time 1 hour I leave is £2,500. Cash. Meenda, that is one day. But take Mr. Bob Wine will go and play guitar. I don't play guitar. Ugandans have enough brains that can lead that country than a man who can play guitar. The guitar is coronation. You come to coronate. Either you play or you coronate. Don't bring us politics of the past. Me, I tell the truth here, because when you sing this song of Ngule, you are creating problems. Republicans like me might not be very, very pleased. I'm always open. A man like me who saw the first king of the country of Uganda in 1964.
Is that the king that you knelt?
Yes, I knelt at the corner, my corner.
Felt asleep by the roadside.
Yes, I fell asleep because I was told, when you hear the cars of the king coming, don't look there, you bend. So me with my cassava that I had roasted, my mother made me roast my cassava in the morning.
All the time you tell this story, you had a cassava, didn't
Yes, cassava. You know, you have to, for lunch.
Yes.
There was nothing like these people having bags.
Yes.
Today people are having bags going to a man is leaving his house with a big bag.
Yeah, lunchbox.
Not lunchbox, yeah. Big bag going to the gym. Cassava used to make us so well-natured, yes. You can run.
Very much.
I roasted my cassava. My mother is still alive. She's there. She watched me. She said, we had to leave. We arrived at about 7:30 in the corner in my county, where we had to wait for the Kabaka to arrive, Sam Edward Mutesa. And a man, my grandfather called Yosia Wehola, told me one thing, that, and he was the biggest supporter of the kingdom. They told us that when you see the police coming, you know, you all don't look there, you look down. So me, my personal experience with kingdoms is that I knelt and looked down. And with the dust, you know, that road has not even been tarmacked.
So you closed your eyes?
Yes, up to today. Maybe it is near a hospital called Bududa. You know, it has not been tarmacked. And so I went down. Guess what? By the time I woke up, I was asleep. People passed until the owner of the hotel, who was a friend of my late father, knew me, because all the time we stand there to pick the bus to go and buy shoes, butter shoes in the city, in the town. The owner said, come. This is so and so's son. They pulled me up. My mother was a mother's union. that, you know, Mothers Union is associated with Anglican Church. And Anglican Church in Uganda is associated with the kingdom.
Oh, with the kingdom.
Yes, yes. That's the truth.
And not the queen.
You see, when you see those things coming, you can now see my disagreement with this type of songs that are coming.
Yes.
I and Museveni, we go to that same church. Anglican Church of Uganda. I am. So my mother was a Mothers Union. So they had gone to sing. These are the people. The only, you cannot allow anybody there except your Mothers Union, married very nicely with a ring that can stand near the Kabaka to sing. So my mother left me, went to sing for the kingdom. This is a history. And very important for people watching me all over the world, that part of our problems of why Africa might not integrate, one of the obstacles lies in our religion. Yes, and you'll see, I will bring the lecture myself, and then you can compare.
Yes.
Later with whoever will be talking about integration. I will bring the obstacles. And then look at it, what happened. They picked me up. My mom was very upset, because now the time I woke up from this sleep in the corner, the Kabaka had toured the whole place and gone back to Mbale town to proceed to Kampala. Can you, have you seen the nightmare? And my mother coming to me straight, Mom, instead of Mom saying sorry, Mom slapped me.
That's what our old and mothers used to do.
Yes, she gave me a very nice slap. That, what did I tell you? I told you that as soon as the cars move, you move this direction. I left you with your friend. Your friend is crying, is leaving you. Mama gave me a slap. Taught me how to endure the hardship that I go through, tortured. That's why people who insult me on my Facebook, I never in my life block you. I have never blocked you. And my Facebook has never been blocked by the Facebook owners. Simply because I have that heart of thinking for others and allowing to educate people who are uneducated or stopped near classroom and ran very fast, or schools. So that is my basis today. I want to take this opportunity to look at, so that I give Miriam an extra, I have 20 minutes to go into the basis of the African headlines. Yes. We have plenty of it. The top of the hour. My only comment will be, corruption in Kenya has reached the levels of free fall. The free fall in Kenya creates an impression that every morning you wake up, there is a big headline that delivers a blow to your heart. How many of these scandals do we have? Can we put a time limit to how much we can take in as scandals, so that wananchi, the younger generation like Miriam, don't get annoyed? She's already annoyed. She has told me frankly she doesn't want to discuss anything to do with certain people and the corruption. So how many of these scandals in Kenya do we have? Can the DCI move this week or before next week, bring us some people who have actually taken this money? We want to see pharaohs, not poets, not jesters. I'm now going to Shakespearean English. The pharaohs, the poets, the jesters, they used to work around the Shakespearean and the Julius Caesar's empire, the Maccabees empire. So when you look at that, we want to bring in a pharaoh, those pharaohs who actually mastermind this type of theft, a generalized theft. A theft is like you are not working for the country. You are working for eating the money. Just get it, eat it. Surely. Mr. Munya, the CS, you have seen the story.
Yes, from yesterday.
The CS says he has someone who came to him, and I have been told the name. I am shaken. Oh!
Is it the usual name?
No. Now you see, they harass me, they call me names, Ugandan, what? Let me tell you. Now, look, the name is very interesting.
It's not one of those names that are...
No, Miriam, don't go into it. I told you to.
There have been so many of them.
Yes, it's so many names, but I have been told one name.
Okay.
This top.
Okay.
What did it say? Top cabinet.
Cabinet member told me.
Yes, top.
Damn cash.
Yes. Are you heard?
Yes.
Top
cabinet. Cabinet member, yes.
Yes, you studied journalism. So what's your problem?
Okay.
Investigative journalism leads you. You use words top.
Yes.
No, these ones who are here, Wamalwa, I never expected Wamalwa to be part of this cartel of thieving. A very good lawyer. Is he part of the thieving cartel? He's being questioned again today.
Well, his ministry seems to have been,
I used to, you know what, it reminds me, I used to find several women lined up in Intercontinental. Oh, we are waiting to go to the Ministry of Dams, Irrigation, Dams. Hey, DCI or Kara Bishop, come to me. I'll give you a clue. Maybe these women are the ones hiding the money.
Not women.
Yeah, yes, the women. I used to see some women. I'm telling you the truth.
At Intercontinental?
Yes, you find them seated there. Whom are they waiting for? Oh, with document. I'm going to the Ministry of... I'm supplying this. This is the same problem.
But Intercontinental is not even offices of any ministry. What are they doing there? They're meeting...
Intercontinental was a money magnet for gamble, those who gamble government money.
Okay.
All these guys, the Chinese, so they sit there. And if you, I don't know why the chairman of the EACC and the CEO of EACC, Mutwalib, have buy pingos.
Yes, the handcuffs.
Handcuffs. Go with them near any of this hotel lobby. If you have been looking for thieves, those who make these things work, my bosses, you will find them there. Go to public rallies. As they step down with the helicopter, you arrest and ask, how did you buy this helicopter? Or how did you hire this helicopter today? A few months ago, you are begging for lunch from some people whom God had helped to get work much earlier.
Yes.
In Intercontinental. 5 years passed. You have 5 helicopters.
You have accumulated so much wealth and
you are flying, zooming everywhere.
Yes.
Even to the extent that, do you know that the skies of this country must be regulated? Otherwise, you will be sleeping at night.
Yes.
And the helicopter comes on your roof.
I hear it all the time where I live, but
yes.
I normally assume...
You see that, no, where you live is near the Air Force.
Yes, the Air Force.
So it is acceptable. They can do. Yes. Some of them have nice night vision, yes. But night vision can only fly on specific, yes. Unless there is emergency to evacuate the president.
Yes, true.
To a bunker somewhere. You know, we know all these things. But you can't fly a helicopter at night. Then it lands you on an island in Lake Turkana. What were you doing there? Who authorized you to fly at night?
Has the investigation started?
No, my friend, there will never be any investigation.
But the United States was investigating because some of their...
Let them investigate. Maybe the FBI.
The citizens are involved.
Citizens can be involved. Let me take a bit of my tea.
And the family of the pilot, whose body has not been recovered, were asked for assistance from the Embassy of the United States while they're investigating that, if they can help them unravel this mystery of the missing body of their kin.
It is sad.
It is very sad. So,
viewers, Miriam, we have a problem here. Houston, we have a problem. Corruption has reached a level of free fall. The judges, that's why I have said a dead Supreme Court. Every judge in the Supreme Court has got kasoro. Kasoro, for viewers who don't know Swahili, has got a crisis. Can I put it that way? Yes. Crisis or something, a petition. A chief justice of a country, a Switzerland of Africa, is hanging on the job, pretending to be a chief justice, when he has got a petition seeking on serious grounds of nepotism. I would like to see the answers of the Chief Justice to that petition. You get the point? Mm-hmm. Let's see how he will answer to this. Then we can see the lies of the darkness and the light.
He's not yet responded.
He hasn't.
To the allegations.
And nobody has, you know, they ordered for all newspaper headlines never to print that head story. And I know the people. Mr. President, one day when we bump into each other at the African Union, I will tell you.
Today he'll be at, he's arriving from Mombasa, the
you know very well I don't go to those things.
Together with the
president. I don't go to those things. Anything to do with rice and meat in the State House, I don't go. I stopped going there when Itumbi group was feeding small girls from the streets. You see, you go there, you have been given a card to sit in E. Mm-hmm. But when you look up in near the dais, the type of some of the people in the dais there, So I said the best thing, I'm a friend, I am just a friend of these people. I don't want to embarrass them. I went to such a function in Nyeri. I went and sat on the sunshine. Sunshine. Mm-hmm. I'm now telling you the truth. I went and sat, my table was on the sunshine. So when I sat there, I think someone, I don't want to say the name here, saw me, said, you people, what did you do? You put Matsanga in that place? Mm-hmm. I was called very ceremoniously to be delivered near the dais.
Near the yes.
I was taken to the table of former Anthony General, a few steps away from where His Excellency and the Deputy were. Mm-hmm. But you can see the type of suffering. So from that day I said, no, those functions, don't count me in. After all, I'm a guest here. If I don't go in, I don't want to go. Mm-hmm. Now, the same thing happened in Khartoum when we were invited by President General Bashir. Mm-hmm. In 2016, April, I know the dates, 2016, 30th, 31st, no, for a week, we stayed in Khartoum. Myself, Deputy Chief Justice, the one standing trial
yes.
right now, mm-hmm. Another judge for corruption, another man from the judiciary, and Dr. Ojwang from Nazarene University. The head of the faculty of Northern University.
Of law.
Of law. As we are entering the palace of the President Bashir, this Justice Mwiru told me, I am the one who even stopped the bus that don't leave my Kenyan Chief Justice. You know, as usual, I'm very good at welcoming women. And this is the mistake. I welcomed her to enter the bus. I stopped the driver not to go. Now, when we reached there, the palace, Madam Mwiru, this one standing trial, the one who is in court, you are seeing on the pictures there. We got out and she told me, your place is the other side, not this way.
Was she the one?
Yeah, listen first.
She's the usher.
So no sooner had I sat after 5 minutes with Dr. Juang on the same table in this commoners place, where small clerical officers of the court, Bashir's chief of staff himself walked towards me. He said, His Excellency the President would like to sit with him. And against which table Justice Mwiru was put, table number 7. I was taken direct
to the high table. To
the high table where Chief Justice, where President Bashir was seated. Bashir is here, Matanga is here. The Chief Justice of Sudan, the late, who has died, by the way, was there. So I made sure that, I'm sorry, Madam CJ, DCJ. I raised my head for her to see me. and then I said, I'm here. So viewers, that is the life we have in Kenya. The judiciary is gone. All top judges are indicted.
Yes, and yesterday, as I was looking, just the news part of Deputy Chief Justice proceedings, the case now had ties with Imperial Bank.
Yes.
Farther than we even knew about.
And she used the letterhead of the Supreme Court.
She even attended the burial of one of the managers who died. And it shouldn't be like that. It was more than a customer relation with her bank. So yesterday it was unraveling. So I'm just waiting.
So let me give you the time. You have 80 minutes to go through your news, and then we climb on the other subject. Thank you very much.
All right,
Fred.
Thank you to our viewers. And thank you, God. You're saying, Dr. David Matanga, do you trust National Islamic Front, National Congress Party, and Muslim Brotherhood of Khartoum, and Omar Hassan al-Bashir, the sponsor of terrorism? I think Doctor will answer that. And Shakir Adam Adriz, you're saying al-Bashir, the head of corruption in Sudan. All right, those are some of your queries. And Perejo, you're saying, Doctor, what is your take in Mali? I suggest you said mail there, but I suppose you wanted to say Mali. Okay, so keep writing to us, and just after I'm through with the African news headlines, Dr. Matanga will be able to answer to some of the questions that you're raising this morning. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from this morning. It is just a few minutes to midday, about 6 minutes to midday East African time, and this is the latest coming in from Africa this morning. And we start with Kenya, where Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni will become the first foreign head of state to travel by train on a Chinese-funded railway line from Kenya's coastal city of Mombasa to the capital, Nairobi. He will be accompanied by his Kenyan counterpart, President Uhuru Kenyatta, as the two leaders focus on strengthening ties between the nations. We go to Cameroon, where the United Nations Refugee Agency, UNHCR, is appealing for urgent funding to cater for displaced Cameroonians, largely concentrated in the Anglophone region. According to a recent statement from the outfit, out of 437,000 people currently displaced the country, about 351,000 were from Ambazonia regions rifled by violence. And we go to Uganda, where 4 Ugandan police officers are to be charged with murder, conspiracy and professional misconduct, the police force said in a statement on Wednesday. The charge is in relation to the extrajudicial killing of one Sebulime Ronald, a motor rider who was suspected of being a criminal element, described by the police statement as a dangerous person. We go to Algeria, where Algeria's biggest union and influential party on Wednesday backed an army call for President Abdelaziz Bouteflika to quit in a managed exit plan that was quickly rejected by protesters demanding the overthrow of the entire political elite. And in Mozambique, the latest about the cyclone is that the Mozambican authorities held a mass burial for about 40 victims of the tropical cyclone that ravaged the country. The burial took place in Susun and Denga district in the country's western Manica province. And in Nigeria, Abdullahi Omar Gadunje, governor of Kano State in northern Nigeria, secured a re-election over the weekend in a vote that has largely been criticized for its violent nature. And Kano State was one of about half a dozen others that were had supplementary polls, which were held on March 23rd after the election body INEC declared the initial March 2nd polls inconclusive. And we move to Niger, where in Niger, at least 12 people are feared dead and several others injured in 2 suicide bombings in the southeastern region of Difa. The attacks, which started at about 10 a.m. local time on Tuesday night, took place in Difa town. And Pope Francis is set to visit flood-ravaged Mozambique and Indian Ocean nations Madagascar and Mauritius in September. The Vatican announced on Wednesday he will travel to their capitals Maputo, Antananarivo and Port Louis during the September 4th to 10th visit, a statement said, with the precise program to be decided later. And we go to South Sudan, where the country has suspended Al Watan Arabic newspaper, accusing it of non-compliance and operating without a license. In a statement to newsrooms on Wednesday, the regulator of South Sudan Media Authority said the newspaper published daily failed to meet terms of its license. And still in South Sudan, one South Sudanese lawmaker and 2 security personnel were killed in an ambush in the northeast of the country while returning from a peace mission, a ruling party spokesman said on Wednesday. South Sudan, the world's youngest nation, has been rocked by civil war since 2013, when President Salva Kiir troops clashed with forces loyal to Riek Machar, his former vice president. And that is the latest from Africa this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.
And across the world, in Brunei,
yes,
the Brunei king says he will punish gay sex and adultery with death by stoning. Again, Putin appoints Yagaven Trekerin as ambassador to Ethiopia African Union. Across the world, Trump tells Russia to remove troops from Venezuela. You've seen quite a lot, and in Britain,
yes.
In Britain, Brexit, all proposals that Prime Minister Theresa May brought were rejected. 8 of them with no. 8 no's.
Wow.
That means it leaves us one. Either Britain leaves on 30th June with nothing and starts to prepare its own way to navigate the complicated waters on all sides of the island. Banking, food, it is terrible.
It's going to affect its economy.
So
very
the people who live in Britain, over 3 million British nationals have signed a petition wanting for a second referendum.
How far has the petition garnered?
I think it will come back, because the other one, see, you can only bring a motion back in Parliament after 6 months. So they can bring back the motion. But how many people will stand the new vote, to pass that motion remains a very tricky matter. And as it is, the DUP, the people from Northern Ireland in Belfast, DUP, have said they will not support Madame Theresa May because of that backstop.
Yes.
The hard border situation.
Between Northern Ireland
yes,
and
because you put
if
these guys, they will have a custom. Before you pass here, you have to pass, you have to get an entry.
It's going to be very complicated.
And it can resurrect the Northern Ireland insurgents of the IRA. You remember the IRA of that used to bomb and devastate. When I arrived in London in 1987, that was the hallmark of what London used to be. Actually, London was more or less like a Mogadishu.
And I think UK is very
You cannot go to a tall building and sit there for a long time. So we used to be bombed on the mainland by these guys. So it has been a complex, a very serious complex.
And
it could resurrect that insurgency if not well handled. And elsewhere in the world, we look at the situation in the Philippines, where the Philippine government has finally quit the ICC.
Or Duterte, he
said,
made good the threats,
yes, they have left. They said bye-bye. He said he did it for the best of the future generation.
Because he was being questioned over his murder of drug barons.
Yes, but drugs were, everybody has been singing about drugs, drugs, like people sing about corruption in Kenya.
And we told you that chorus has become tired.
Yes, which has made you very tired.
We don't want to hear it anymore. Do something about it.
So this president of Philippines got a hammer, a big hammer, and went on smashing everybody's head, including the cars that they had bought out of the proceeds. The trade has gone down completely. So he said he did it. If you want to charge him, come and pick him in the Philippines.
He's one character.
Yes. So there you are. While down under in New Zealand, viewers, the gun law has effectively taken place, beating America by 1 million years.
America
they will never.
Everything, yes.
Yes. I love that prime minister. I like the prime minister, the way she speaks. She's a young lady, though.
Yes, Jacinda, yes.
Yeah, she is young and they make decisions.
Yes.
Tall ladies make decisions very effectively.
Does it have anything to do with the
yes, I have. You remember you told me that we should discuss all things social, economic, this, that. Tall ladies make quick decisions.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you better know.
Okay.
Yes. They are not, a tall lady will see what he wants. She wants ahead.
And the short one does what?
Oh, no. If you are engaging a short lady, you will run for your money until it is finished.
I did not see
Especially those days when some of us were using a bus to travel on a bus in order to reach town on route number 15 from Southlands. Yes.
They're disadvantaged.
And she has given you an appointment, then you in a place called Wimpe.
You can't see her.
There used to be a Wimpe on Kenyatta Avenue.
Yeah, it's over now, yeah.
Then she gives you, then she said, okay, David, I will see you on Saturday the other Saturday, not even this one. So we have gone through all this. When Nairobi had only one nightclub.
Florida.
No.
Which one?
Florida came later on.
Okay.
It's called New Visions.
Oh, okay.
Where the current house of Nation Center stands. That nightclub, if you are not well dressed, you don't enter there. You have to dress smart and look organized.
For you to be allowed in.
Yes, and come in a Kenatico, Mercedes Benz.
Kenatico,
You have missed lots of things, you people. You have not enjoyed.
We have Twitter now.
Yes.
And Instagram.
You are seeing these things on Twitter. Okay, thank you very much, Miriam. The newspapers in Kenya,
Yes.
how governors, MPs, MCAs are amassing riches. Oh,
By asking kickbacks.
yeah, no,
Kickbacks is a new
look
thing
at
in
it.
town. Yes.
The country developed the systems. I want to take caution and tell my fellow Kenyan African brothers and sisters. There are two things you should never do in the world of devolution. Don't move one of these factors faster than the other. If you move evolution faster, people will steal. If you move devolution faster, again people will steal. And if you move them slow, again people will come for you.
So there's no winning.
So you move both of them at the same rate. Devolution goes with evolution. There is no way in this country, in this world, that you can build evolution unless you studied wrong political science or governance. The two must move together. As you move the doctors to the local counties, you must move slowly, quickly, or gradually, or quickly. The structures. Part of the problem why doctors are still striking today is there were no structures for their being on the county level.
Yes, yes.
So devolution must be moved together with evolution.
And I've always argued maybe Ministry of Health and the doctors, and that should have been left to the national government until the structures were in place. The same way education is still with the national government.
Yes.
Same should have been
so
with health.
You look at that. Am I wrong?
Very right.
Two, they are twins. You can't separate them. They must move together. That's why you see now, one thing has moved faster.
Corruption.
Corruption.
Quickly.
Corruption has moved governors. I am telling you, in 2012, I predicted that Kenya would have political warlords. And it came to pass. I am happy that my friend Governor Joho is today with us, because he had already made that place a warlord, a war zone for the president. Every time the president goes to Mombasa, how would the president have hosted President Museveni in Mombasa if Joho was a warlord, a political warlord, not a military warlord? And mark you, Joho is my friend. So we have been friends for a long time. When ananiona anasema ndio wewe mtu yangu. So I have no problem with Joho.
A goat has a problem with you.
Yes. Oh.
He's saying, Dr. Matsanga, you should be brought to court to face women justice of 1970s of the many relationships or Lailas.
Of what?
He's saying the stories there you give from your past. You should go to court.
Of writers?
No, the stories you give about your past and the things you talk about sometimes. But I think it's just being funny. You should be brought to court to face women justice of 1970s of the many relationships. Yes. But anyway, that was just a by the way. So, elected leaders now.
He is saying... Is he saying, no, I have done nothing wrong about the women justice?
He's being funny, yes.
The women, the tall one and the short one, of course there is a problem, Bwana, or God. My viewer, please, there is. Wewe jaribu kupata ule bibi mwenye unapita.
But where a goat comes from, I assume is South Sudan, the very tall...
Yes, Nebi. Around there, Arua, West Nile. He's from the Eastern Equatorial, Karibu na sisi. Yes.
The tall ladies.
So they are tall ladies. That's why he's laughing at me. Yes.
Okay.
Ladies, they wanaweza kukuletea shida hata nyumba inakuwa moto.
Okay.
So thank you very much, viewers. This is how MPs are getting rich. Illegal pay shock for civil servants. Now more money is going to be deducted, more chaos. 140.
allowances for civil servants to go. I'm not exactly in support of that. As it is right now, our civil service, they're not very well paid, unless you're at the top, like...
Is this lady also coming to rake, to create a regime change?
This one...
you see, the worst thing in life is to touch these...
SRC, yes.
Yes, is to touch these guys. They scheme a regime change very fast. Hope President Uhuru Kenyatta will look at that. Wamarwa, dams, more questions as kickback probes ends. Is it Wamarwa? Is it Chinjuri? They are in Mombasa and they are being questioned.
The detectives
they dispatched Mombasa, the detectives on police helicopter. Not, that means there is something
serious matter. Yes.
Tunataka kitu. We want this is the end, the tail end.
They have serious information that the detectives are looking for.
Yes. So it's a shame. For them, as they sit there, they are told that hapana.
Yes, and maybe if we can look at the details of the meeting between President Uhuru Kenyatta and President...
Very good meeting.
Yes.
And it brought out quite a lot of things. Some of them that I love so much. The question of Museveni who hold trade talks. The trade is going to be there, but implemented.
That is something that we'll yet to see. And so Uganda, of course, is pushing for the completion of the second phase of the SGR so that Uganda can pick it from there to enhance the trade and the movement of cargo.
Yes, down I have, that's very good, Your Excellency, such that plot of mine in Malaba. I told you I had bought a plot.
You did buy a plot?
In Malaba, to prepare for a hotel.
Oh, okay.
So I'd given up, but I can see has given Uganda land in Naivasha. President Uhuru Kenyatta has given Uganda land in Naivasha to do what? Of dry port. Yes, that is also better. Uganda can build a dry port and create more employment for Kenyans around there. That's very good. Yes. But can I manage the dry port?
Well, the dry port.
Yes, to avoid corruption.
Good luck with that.
Yes, we have to be honest. Can I manage? We can manage the dry port better. That is very good news coming from Nairobi, Mombasa, where our satellite, can you zoom it to that side?
I think now they should be in the train.
No, they will start later at 3.
Oh, they're taking the 3 p.m. train?
Yes.
Is it 2 p.m.?
I wouldn't like to that was not even supposed to be talked about. But you know, President Museveni is a soldier. Yeah, we do. We want a good journey. And he's going in a economy class.
Yeah.
He paid 700 shillings.
He went with the normal couches.
Yeah, I'm told so, yes.
Not the...
No.
The first
but
class.
I think the president would allow. He should sit, he's going to sit among the people. So
but even the economy class is comfortable anyway.
Yes, it is comfortable. I hope they have improved the service for food.
Yeah.
I had a problem when I traveled on it, the service for food.
Yeah, the last I did, which is last year.
And especially when you have gone with your beautiful goods.
Okay.
When you leave them here, by the time you come, someone has taken the number, everything, you are done. You have to look for food in the fifth. Why are you looking at it?
They bring the food now. They bring.
Madam, that time there was no food being brought.
Okay, now I think they've worked on it.
If you have gone with the tall Masai, the time you come back from the 5th coach,
Chinese has.
The Chinese have taken the number. There are men there who are like hyenas.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We traveled there in a group. And we had to leave. One of us, 3 of us, leave one in order to safeguard the goods.
What goods are we talking about?
What goods are portable on the train in a coach, business class? Of course, you can't expect merchandise.
It's just a bag.
Human goods.
Humans are...
Yes, they are goods.
Really?
Goods in literally speaking, social life. Being two.
Okay.
I'm talking this for Ugandans. Ugandans know what goods are.
All right.
Being two, mizigo.
Okay. Arabic is watching.
You know, you are always, my lady here is a church goer. So she doesn't know these slangs.
I can't relate.
You can't relate the slangs of Ebintu, the goods.
Okay.
Yes, we are 4 people. We went to Mombasa, and we not 4. We are actually 5. 3 ladies and 2 men.
Okay, not balanced.
We are not balanced.
But it's okay.
So we had to leave one man. We men had to leave each other to collect the food in the first coach, coach number 5. To buy a beer or a brandy or food.
Yeah. But it's just a 5-hour ride.
But next to us, the men who had bought, they bought their, I think they came with their drinks in the... Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you're allowed to.
They were on the men. So we were putting in unfortunate competitive atmosphere.
I'm lost, but yeah.
Anyway, but you can understand.
Yes. Yes.
That the eyes after these guys, I think after Mutitende,
yes.
These guys had drunk a lot of whiskey and they are looking at these ladies like, oh my God. So we had a problem there.
That is a problem.
Yes.
And I hope they're not...
You now know the problem. 16 minutes passed.
So you had to protect the ladies.
No, the goods. They are called goods.
No, I will not accept
when
that.
You are going on when you are going on a holiday,
the ladies.
You don't call yourselves ladies.
It's ladies.
No,
it's not respectful. I will not take that.
Okay. Can you let's bring it on unfiltered. Let's go to the real topic of the day. We take only 3 minutes or 1 minute break.
Yes.
While you bring...
But I think about that.
Nkrumah speech of Africa. The pictures of Nkrumah at any speech of a united Africa, integrated Africa in 1957.
Yes, indeed. And don't go too far. When we come back, Dr. Matsanga will be looking into death, what's some of the obstacles that are really standing in between the integration of Africa with some specific countries to look at. So don't go too far. Good morning, Africa. We'll be right back.
Your Excellency President Museveni, the CCTV is very good. In Nairobi, in the CBD where people used to carjack people, at night kill people, it is safe. Here now in the CCBD, you can relax with your car because the police are watching. Mr. President Museveni of Uganda, that is it.
The cameras will be under the police, and what overexposure is there? You are not naked on the streets. You are walking, going to buy something. You are driving. So what are you, like I'm seeing you now, how are you exposed? Or how am I exposed? Because you see I'm seated here, you are seated there. We are not in the cameras are not in people's bedrooms. They are not in people's sitting rooms. They are in the public, on the streets and on the highway. So they are only for security.
Within 6 months, Jambazi who are killing people in Kampala will be gone. Install the CCTV in Kampala and other cities and everywhere. Allow people to install. Jambazi watajulikana. Yes, because even when you install your Kasimolo CCTV, atakuua lakini ataonekana na pikipiki.
These cameras will stop all those bad driving, vandalizing electricity lights, vandalizing furniture. That's what they are for.
Go to Israel and buy them. Mr. President, don't give people money. They are going to eat. They will just inflate the price. That's the only way another way of fighting corruption. Because they will install things that don't work. Thank you very much, viewers. Welcome back to Punchline Africa, last phase of our show segment. Today, in this segment, I would like to look at, take the first 20 minutes. Let me see. No, 15 minutes. And then spend the next 15 minutes exchanging views with Miriam and other African people watching this show. Today in Africa, we look at the vision of the founding fathers. The founding fathers of Africa, Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, Haile Selassie, Jomo Kenyatta, Nyerere, Cabral, Patrice Lumumba, Gabriel Nasser. These founding fathers had an aim that one day Africa will rise, unite, integrate, and form a big bloc of United States of Africa. From the inception, they did not know that there could be obstacles. The obstacles today that have made the integration of Africa difficult, some of them are made by ourselves, self-inflicted obstacles. Some are external obstacles, and the others are purely logistical obstacles. The category number one, I look at who are the people that are making Africa not unite. Before I come to looking at internal difficulties, Africans themselves, we have bad governance, bad infrastructure. Of course, bad governance creates bad infrastructure. It also creates human rights abuses and it creates tendencies of fragmentation of states. I give an example of Amazonia. I give an example of Cameroon. Many African people will ask me, why do we want Amazonia as a state in Cameroon? The problems are traced back in a historical context. The Anglo speakers and the Franco speakers. But before the arrival of the white external forces, Cameroonians, the Amazonians had their own kingdoms, their own chiefdoms, their paramount chiefs. Their culture was just different from the rest of the other people in Cameroon. The establishment of such institutions, like the institutions of chiefdoms in Amazonia, created the desire of self-determination, of which the British awarded certain countries in Africa, like the question of Uganda. The Buganda was given a special status as Buganda as a kingdom, already ahead of even the white explorer who arrived in our country. Uganda became a protectorate. Kenya became a colony. Tanzania became a trust state, a mandate state, meaning it was governed under the United Nations Charter or organization of countries that formed themselves after the Second World War. If you look at the 1884 partitioning of East Africa and Africa at large, you will find that each country put its own powers, stretched its hand, how far the hand could reach to pick the territory it wanted. These efforts have continued, and the leaders of independence after independence continued to advocate for African unity, but not knowing the obstacles that were making it to unite, that were making Africa not to unite. There were many obstacles at that time. The animosity created by slave trade, for example, in the western part of Africa, where free slaves returned and ignited the type of democracy that we saw in Liberia and other states neighboring Liberia. The growth of such a free, organized states, that the free slaves were brought back, who were free, who organized themselves with a model of democracy, made it impossible now to bring in other states that had got independence, like Ghana, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Benin, which Dahomey formerly, Burkina Faso, all these countries. It brought in what we call a military element after the independence was handed over to political activists, equivalent to Nyerere, Jomo Kenyatta, Obote, Haile Selassie, Amir Cabral, Sekou Patrice Lumumba. The first knock on African unity through external forces arrived in Democratic Republic of Congo. By then it was called Congo, changed to Zaire, now DRC. Patrice Lumumba was murdered on the instigation of the colonial masters because they saw the brand of Pan-Africanism that he was preaching. It will remove them from the obstacle number one. One of the obstacles why Africa cannot unite are resources. Why we cannot unite? People will not allow us to have an integrated Africa as long as we talk over our minerals. As long as we say it is us who have uranium. Because there's someone in the metros of Europe who needs that uranium more than ourselves. There's somebody who needs the diamond, the oil in Amazonia more than ourselves. And he will not allow us to get a free Amazonia because it will cost them so expensively to get that oil, given the background of the history that they have tormented, helped, tortured Amazonians. That is another serious obstacle why Africa cannot integrate easily. Another obstacle in Africa is the type of democracy that we have. Each state has its own democratic or semblance of democracy. Take, for example, in Kenya, we have term limits. In Tanzania, we have term limits. In Burundi, I think the term limits was tampered with. In Rwanda, the term limit was tampered with. In Uganda, the term limits were removed. Now that one becomes a huge obstacle. You can talk about trade, you can trade, you can do whatever you want. We can now enjoy the discussions of how we can bring poultry from Uganda into Kenya and sell the eggs. That's okay. These states have been selling eggs, including ivory. I was born at the time when the Arab traders came to Uganda to collect ivory from the Garamba Park through my village. Hence my name, Masanga. That name comes from Amasanga. The type of trade that took place united all the people all the way from northern Uganda through Arua, through Lake Albert, through Lake Victoria, to Mwanza, to Bagamoyo, to Ujiji, to Mombasa, to Lamu. These ports, all this Bagamoyo, Dar es Salaam, they worked as a unifying factor. What was on it? What was the unity? Why were the traders going inside to gain from the products, the minerals, the diamonds, the illegal tusks of elephants that were in Garamba Park and other national parks that are within the parts of Central Africa, East Africa, and beyond? That one became an obstacle. And it is an obstacle today. It became a unifying thing, but today, that unifying thing is not there. The trade is being done by smuggling. There's no African state that is going to allow you to smuggle without paying taxation. Smugglers come as far as Angola to trade their diamond through a clean country in East Africa. Because diamonds in Angola or in Central Africa are classified as conflict diamonds. Someone has planted obstacles around our own resources. So resource number 2. Number 3 is bad governance. There is no uniformity among African states. You can't unite, you can't integrate now. When Sudan is hammering each other with AK-47 and the long, what are they, those rocket propeller launchers, everybody's killing each other, slaughtering each other. Riek Machar versus Salva Kiir. That governance cannot give us integration. Integration also has suffered a blow as a result of change of guards. Nyerere advocated for East African integration. In West Africa, we had Nkrumah fighting for African integration. We lost Nkrumah. We lost Nyerere. We lost Jomo Kenyatta. We lost Haile Selassie. We lost Gabriel Nasser. We lost Sekou Touré. Recently, we have lost Mandela. We lost Samora Machel, one of the few people, pillars of an African liberation, who talked about Africa must unite. And above all, of late, we lost Gaddafi. Integration needs the will, the determination, the support, the monetary issues that you lose. It needs not lip service. There are people in Africa who play lip service, but they don't pay even the fees in African Union. There are so many African Union countries that have not paid their money, their membership fee to subscribe to the well-being of the good, smooth running of the African Union. Another factor why Africa will take long to integrate. I have not said it will not integrate. Integration must begin now. But the factor that you should look at, one of the pillars that can bring us unity is democracy. There's a difference between bad governance and the democracy. Because democracy does not mean you can be in a very democratic institution, but you are badly governed. I don't know whether my viewers are seeing the same. You can be in a very good place where there is democracy. You don't drive the car upside down. You don't on the right, you go on the left, or you don't up backwards, you drive forward. But you are badly governed. The notion of democracy in Africa created what we call everybody. Which type of democracy do we take? Which type of democracy can you integrate today? How will you integrate when our democracy, our political parties, are hinged on, if it is opposition, it is opposition completely. There is no way opposition will give up opposing what the government has done. Why does opposition in Britain lose an election and then they go back and say it is okay? The factor that we looked at yesterday, they have institutions. Does Africa have institutions enough to integrate? If we cannot even have institutions to discipline our own courts, if we cannot have institutions to discipline people who sell maize and allow their own countrymen to suffer, who load maize, and these institutions are not there, You can't integrate with a country that has a strict law on corruption when the other country has no law on corruption. Ethiopia, for example, is more or less a crime, a very serious, deadly crime, if you are found on corruption in Ethiopia. When you cross over to Kenya, we talk much about civil rights, Bill of Rights. I must be given bail. I have just stolen money from Thika Commercial Bank, but I need bail. I tell my wife that I am now going to steal, but when I bring the money, prepare some money for bail. In Ethiopia, it is not there. In Kenya, it is there. How will you integrate? How? Until we change the laws to become uniform, until we put institutions that can work, and let's begin now, that the future generation can see that when we talk about liberties, fraternity, equality, there is equality in Amazonia. Amazonians are given fraternity, liberty, and equality. But when you have President of Yaoundé, the president of Cameroon, seeking the 7th term for 49 years, you cannot integrate Africa. And oppressing the other group of Amazonians, where is the integration? When can you have that guy to agree to integrate? Amazonians will have to fight to get themselves free from the bondage, the genocide that is taking shape in this country called Amazonia. Integration therefore becomes a nightmare when Africa creates its own conflicts, manufactures its own conflicts, administers its own conflicts, encourages its own conflict on its own people. Integration therefore becomes a nightmare when African institutions are not respected. When you win an election, you must know you have now becoming a head of state of a country. You must, if you lose an election, you must know you took part in a democratic institution. You must concede and allow the winner, however bad it is, allow the winner. But can we integrate when those who lose elections in Africa pick guns and go to the bush? Can we integrate when those who lose elections tell their supporters to come and ban the entire country and infrastructure of the country, thereby taking us back to the day when we got independence? The case of Gabon. An election was held in Gabon in 2016. Dr. Jinping brought down the entire Gabon, banned the parliament which was built in colonial days in the 60s, banned the constitutional court, the Supreme Court of Gabon, because he lost an election. He failed to concede. He had masters of regime change telling him to contest the results of the elections. Viewers, these factors, plus another major factor in Africa that causes more problems is the question of ethnicity. Africa has got ethnically divided Africa, where the Fulani cannot talk to the Igbo, and the Igbo are being butchered while the Fulani are laughing. Where the Luos in northern Uganda had a war with the President Museveni, a southerner, for over 23 years. How can you bring these two groups to a table like we have done, there is now peace. We took more time fighting than thinking of a united Uganda. How the Noors and the Dinka in South Sudan are slaughtering each other today because we took time, we did not look at the obstacles that can put a nation. So there are people in South Sudan today who wish that they had remained in Khartoum government. There are people I have seen, I've interviewed people in this station, some of them who feel they would have not left that system of Khartoum. How will you integrate Africa? As we talk today, President Museveni will address Integration Summit tomorrow in Kenyatta University. I think I will advertise this for the world because I am a very democratic person. I want to advertise this so that people can attend in big numbers, register, go early enough so that you can know exactly what is supposed to be done. You can go early enough and create yourself room and listen to this seminar or this lecture by His Excellency President Museveni of Uganda. I want to advertise I am in a spirit of national and international
cohesion
and global cohesion. That, yes, I don't know why Miriam is laughing, but that is the spirit I am in. That my production team advertised that seminar. The obstacles, advertised that seminar. Tomorrow there will be a seminar, a lecture, a public lecture by His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda, at the Kenyatta University. The topic is integration in Africa. I'll try today to bring out, I brought you the factors: ethnicity, bad governance, lack of democracy, lack of uniformity, natural resources that were given to us help to divide us more than uniting us. Ethnicity as a factor has put Africa backwards. The Fulani, the Ashanti, the Igbo, the Baganda, the Shona, the Zulu, the Tswanas, those tribes, the Noors and the Dinka, think differently. Until we unite politically, until we wash away the hatred that has been embedded in our hearts, integration becomes a nightmare. On each day you talk about it. I believe President Museveni will look at these factors tomorrow. I'm not doing a preview for him, but these are very serious factors, Your Excellency, which you should look at. How do we cure ethnicity? How do we cure? That's the topic. That is where His Excellency President Museveni will address a seminar in Kenyatta University on African integration. I want to ask everybody, those who can attend, please attend tomorrow and listen. Behind this background, on this background, you can find why integration is difficult in Africa. We have xenophobia. A few minutes ago, I received, as I was on air, a message from South Africa telling me that you better look at this, which is happening in South Africa right now, where in Durban, cops have been put on high alert by the locals because of xenophobia, not against the white people, but against Somalis, Mozambicans, Kenyans, Nigerians, Cameroonians, and above all, some Ugandans. The Africans in South Africa itself, Mr. President, Your Excellency, and the people who are moving together with you, you might need this information. The South Africans themselves took a lot of time spending time in our African states that were already liberated. Most of the South Africans have our passports up to today. But South Africans in Durban, today as we speak, someone from Durban was watching us and say you talk about African integration. The cops in Durban have been put on alert. South African police have been put on alert because of the banning, the killing of several foreign nationals and the key destroying of foreign businesses since Monday. Your Excellencies, President Uhuru Kenyatta and President Kenyatta and Museveni, this is a very big obstacle. Yesterday at Namanga, Kenyans were busy, were seriously very angered, very annoyed. Nobody has come to their rescue. A Kenyan man was picked by Tanzanian police, and this is not the first time Tanzanian police has come across and picked or intercepted a Kenyan and inhumanly handled him or her. Such incidents don't bring about integration. The border dispute between Rwanda and Uganda, I cannot live without talking about it, because people are asking me questions on TV. Can that create integration? Two countries that have the same culture, almost the same language, the same rainfall, the same everything. We have lived together with our Rwandese brothers for over centuries. Today, as we speak, the border between Uganda and Rwanda is closed. Some of us who live by having some living goods, some of us who are transporters, our trucks are held across in Rwanda. They cannot come out until this border is opened. How long it will take? It hurts the people of East Africa. Can there be integration when you still have such bottlenecks that bring about poor integration, poor communication, insecurity? Another point why integration might be difficult for now, but not impossible. It is possible. Look at the border between Karamoja and the Turkana. The Karamojongs today wear dresses, wear shirts, grow crops. President Museveni, I give you a credit. Again, you are watching me. Those who are watching, if you are at the port, your people will tell you, a credit goes to you. You have made Karamoja a habitable place. The Karamoja of 30 years ago, where we used to take foodstuffs, where marauding cattle rustlers could come as far as my home district, take cattle forcefully with guns is no more. I want to congratulate you and thank you for having taken that step forward to keep Karamoja out of a distance of cattle marauders and cattle rustlers. Contrary to one of the things that I expected, this pact between Uganda, the meeting in Mombasa would have brought out, which I have not seen in terms, unless it is a security arrangement. I have not seen it come up on how President Museveni can help the Kenyan counterparts in combating the thuggery that is in Turkana and the West Pokot. The thuggery that has led to starvation because services, not that the government has not got the food. The government has enough food, but the trucks, the services cannot reach the people because of the internal infrastructure challenges caused by insecurity of cattle rustling, killings of innocent herdsmen, robbing of cows, attacking trucks that take food, coupled with drought, which is a natural calamity. The situation has been compounded that when you move from Kenya into Uganda, or from Uganda into Kenya in Karamoja, from Karamoja into Turkana, you cry tears. But when you move from Turkana into Uganda, you smile. Because you'll have a drink, a beer, a soda, the cows will have water. And I loved to hear the Kenyan government asking the Ugandan authorities to allow Karamojongs and to allow Turkana people and the West Pokot people who are taking their cows across to physically only take the cows for water for some time until the situation on this side can change. I would have not seen that communique among the communiques that were put before the presidents. But in short, in a nutshell, viewers, integration is possible. But until we get rid of these obstacles, and compounded by the last one, which is a major obstacle, international agencies, neo-colonial masters, those who only want divisions amongst Africa, especially the French. In the French colonies, 80% of the French colonies are under war, former colonies. Tell me one of the countries that is very peaceful. Show me one. Peace is just returning in Côte d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone. No, not Sierra Leone. Senegal has been peaceful, yes. Burkina Faso is in turmoil. Togo is in turmoil. Chad is off and on. Cameroon is in turmoil. Gabon is in turmoil. The president is ruling by remote control from his hospital bed. DRC Congo is an accident waiting to happen because Kabila left but controls entire houses. That's in turmoil. Central Africa is in turmoil. Let's look at then the countries. Burundi is in chaos. The president cannot travel out of his place. These are some of the obstacles. I just want to ask extra 5 minutes from my producer in Berlin to finish up these points. The question of insecurity in Africa. When you see Somalia waking up late at night, dreaming that there is a border that goes what is it? This one and that one, diagonally and horizontally. Mm-hmm. When you see Somalia, would you think of Somalia today as a state, as an African, that they would wake up to claim what they have never claimed before. It is because there is an external force that is telling Somalia that now the war is about to be ended. But we want to come in to help you. But before we help you, look for that oil and give it to us. I saw my president was not very comfortable to talk about the Somalia issue. But for me, as an international scholar, Your Excellency, I talk about it. Because the problem of Somalia today is you help a sick child who come up after getting the wound is about to be cured, he starts to tell you, how did you help me? It is not going to be long before Somalia stands and says, where did you help me? Why? There is a country that has gone in Somalia. From the time it stepped in Somalia, peace between Kenya and Somalia, and soon the peace between Uganda and Somalia will deteriorate. Therefore, integration will become impossible for the people of Africa. The problem of Amazonia, Your Excellencies, we have huge numbers of Cameroonian refugees in Kampala and Nairobi and Dar es Salaam. African leaders have watched the killings that are taking place in these cities. You are not standing by them, by the people of these countries. There are more refugees, Cameroonians this way, than there are in Yaoundé. Can't African leaders ask, what is this happening in Cameroon that is making everybody in Cameroon to run away? The question of Amazonia must be tackled like Nyerere tackled the question of Biafra and made the war disappear. Biafra and Yakubu Gowon and General Ojukwu all signed agreements and the war ended. Viewers, that brings me to almost, and I give Miriam a chance, who has listened to one or two things. We have talked of institutions, democracy, ethnicity, wars, insecurity, resources as a dividing factor. I had forgotten about Libya. When you look at Libya, the way it was dismembered to reach a point of becoming a begging bowl of Africa, one wonders when and how will this integration come. Muammar Gaddafi was talking of African Union, United States of Africa. President Museveni talks of regional blocks. But regional blocks, when a Turkana has no food and a Karamojong has food, I think it is impossible even to start talking about integration, because they will not listen. So therefore, if you still have conflicts in Mali, if you have conflicts in Boko Haram area, killing Boko Haram people, all of them being murdered by terrorists, integration becomes a nightmare. It is therefore prudent that African leaders look at these small factors of democracy, human rights, engaging, allowing dialogue that will bring about self-determination and the privilege and the liberty and the fraternity amongst the population, that we can talk about integration. But without those factors, integration will become a nightmare. Miriam.
Indeed, and of course, a greater Africa unity is something that has been long cherished, but of course, it has remained a really elusive goal to achieve because of so many factors that continue to plague us as a continent, the endless feuding among the different countries in Africa, the prevailing corruption that you just talked about in depth in most of the African countries, and of course, reform on most of these regional institutions at different countries. They have problems with major institutions like the judiciary and things like that might hinder even some of these things to really have us integrate as a continent, as well as the lack of accountability by some of these African states. You find that a leader is causing atrocities to his people, or doing things that are not lawful, but you see the rest of the leaders in Africa will just sit and watch, and nothing is done towards and to hold them accountable. So the lack of accountability also comes into factors, and of course the war that we see in these different countries. A lot of countries in Africa are really scared of being sucked into some of these wars, so that could also be a factor that scares this dream of becoming one united Africa, and some countries are not really up to that, and they don't want to be sucked into some of these wars that will damage even their economies. Also something else, the laxity of some of African states to deal with matters of human rights, which has become a major problem. As I mentioned up there, some countries, a lot of things are happening, and a lot of atrocities caused by the government themselves, but we don't see other African leaders being our brother's keeper. So that is a major challenge that we see in Africa today. And of course, you've talked about the external influence, and it's been very obvious looking even the long history of some countries, how much external influence has played even in contributing to the civil wars we see sometimes. And so there are external forces which will not want to see an integrated Africa because they'll lose out, because Africa has become their source of wealth, Africa has become their source of money, Africa has become where they come to get whatever they need to run their countries, especially abroad. So an integrated Africa will not work for them. So we see them working overtime to make sure that does not become a reality, and that is very unfortunate. That is very unfortunate thing that we have to live with as Africans. So for us to see a very integrated Africa, I think a lot has to be done. And when you look at our political dynamics, it's very different. It's very interesting sometimes in terms of even how we vote, even how we run our political parties, our political ideas. And we even have, it's interesting. So our political dynamics also comes into play in these different African countries, and that it becomes a bigger hindering block when it comes to the integration of a greater Africa.
Thank you very much. Moso, you brought up the issue of institutions. I have remembered you. I will not go without those issues of institutions. Mm-hmm. Without institutions, we have nothing to talk about.
Yes.
Let's first build institutions. Let's build capacity to be able to respect the rule of law, to respect judgments, to respect human rights, to respect people's integrity, to respect people's fraternity, liberty, to speak. Then we can speak about integration. Integration, yes, it's possible. All of us want Pan-African integration. But Pan-African integration with all these factors heaping on the same organization, the capture of African Union by certain foreign countries, which has been captured by France. We don't have a say at all. The people who go there, when you want to vote in African Union, you look back to say whether I come from English-speaking or African or French-speaking. So what type of integration, Mr. President, you will talk about tomorrow? We want to bring that picture again. Tomorrow, there is a very serious lecture by President Uhuru Muigai, President
Yoweri
Museveni,
yes.
General Museveni in Nairobi Kenyatta University,
yes.
or Kenyatta University in Nairobi.
Yes.
On Thika Road, I think.
Along Thika Road, yes.
Along Thika Road,
yes.
There will be a lecture in the morning, such that you can listen for yourself, or you can sit on radio or TV and watch. Listen, the radio will be broadcast. We shall also broadcast the speech here, direct from that university up to here. and we hear what the president will say. But this, I present a preview of a myriad of obstacles that the president will have to face, the challenges, whether he'll make his audience accept that integration is the way. We have no quarrel with integration, but those are the small obstacles that we have used. I want to thank you, Miriam, my German friend, for having taken the tenacity and the steadfastness to continue to be with us in this endeavor of bringing Africa. And to thank the station, the satellite. We shall again log in later to tell you where you can meet us. I don't know whether Miriam has prepared any unaffiliated, but I think we need to prepare our brains for tomorrow.
Yes,
so we shall tell you exactly whatever it can. Keep watching, keep alert on our television station, the bank of the banks, the tanks of think tanks. It brings on the new ideas. We have learned something new today. Yes, we have learned a very serious thing, that reducing the age from 18 to 16 does not stop defilement. It increases defilement, because somebody will go lower to say, let me test 12. Then 12 will go lower to say, let me see 9.
We will be encouraging child predators.
Yes. So let's just look for deterrent measures to stop this happening to our girls. And it is not only the girls that are molested.
Even the boys now.
Even the boys will be molested.
Very great risk, yes.
Women will come to pick the boy because he's seen he's tall and handsome. Big women with big cars, machines, and like the small boys, babies.
And it happens.
They are called babies.
It's, I don't even want to call it anything. It's unfortunate. And
it's very unfortunate. Yes. It has angered me. I don't know whether you saw me last night. By the way, did you see me last night?
In the evening.
On DSTV,
on Cars.
Cars.
Oh, you're on Cars. I was in class.
You were in class by 8. You leave 9 o'clock. Oh, yes. It was hot. I defended this chapter so well, and I'm told some people, some section of people have cried somewhere. It wasn't me. I explained the handshake very well. I think I didn't talk about anybody, but there are people who always say, even if I keep quiet on a television station, they will say he's going to talk about Mr. X. Okay. So that is what it is. May God help me one day, maybe I'll have my country. God bless you.
All right, we want to thank our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us today and for making the show today a success. We thank you for your contribution, and we thank you for having tuned in and kept us company 2 hours, 15 minutes running. Thank you so much. Hopefully you can meet here again for our next broadcast. But for now, from me, Miriam Ogutu, it is bye-bye.
Bye.